guy's got a disease, right? Like, allegedly, in my opinion. This is not like normal padding your resume. This is like chronic, there is something wrong upstairs, in my opinion, that makes you do this. This is not the behavior of a mentally healthy individual. Today's video is brought to you by Surfshark VPN, keeping everything you do online private and secure, like you want, Peter. No one wants to see your internet history, Peter. Tell you more about them later. Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of Brain Blaze, one that I feel like this would have been like, probably should have rushed this through production because it's totally out of the news cycle now, but it's all about that George Santos guy who became like this is like American news, and it's like, I'm not a huge news follower anyway, but it's like, I'm pretty sure this guy became like an important politician, then it turned out they just made up most of the shit they'd done in the past, which got him like hired or elected or whatever. Didn't he say like he worked for Goldman Sachs? And it's like, bro, you didn't work for us. What are you talking about? Or something like that. I don't know. Let's just jump in because Kevin's written all about it and we're going to learn all about it, aren't we, dear friends? Let's go. Searching for a new job can be really difficult. I only even have this job thanks to a combination of dumb luck and an old abandoned website that Simon had forgotten existed. Really? I don't even remember what that was. Over the course of my life, I've applied for hundreds, if not thousands of jobs and have never once had success trying to get a job via conventional means. Despite how many times I've put my resume out there over the past 20 years, I can count the number of actual interviews I've had on one hand. The only one of those interviews that was even for a job I was excited about was a position in Magic the Gathering's R&D department, though sadly not as a designer.
You're fired. You're hired. You're fired.
As excited as I may have been, I also knew it was a foregone conclusion that I wouldn't be selected as they prefer to hire locally. So, where was I going wrong? I'm educated, I didn't have any gaps in my employment or bounce around to a new job every 3 months, and I didn't slip anything stupid into my resume, including my previous work history, COO. Chief Orgasm Officer for your mum, 2015 to present. Boom! It turns out there was one simple mistake that I was making. I'd foolishly limited my resume to include things that actually happened rather than just making any old shit up. For example, I may have gotten my business degree from UMass, but if science wants us to believe in an infinite multiverse, then there's surely a given out there who went to Harvard Business School on a full backgammon scholarship. Yes, there is. There's definitely a joke in there somewhere about you also getting a physics degree studying like quantum multiple world theory or whatever, right? I'm just not smart enough to get there live.
Quantum power!
So, why shouldn't I be able to write that on my resume? Sure, competitive collegiate backgammon doesn't exist, but neither does my degree from Harvard, so who cares? It was my foolish commitment to honesty. That is why, at 34 years old, I began my career as a butcher, while at the same age, George Santos began his career as a United States congressman. Look, I know congressman is important. It's also like, I'm 35, and it's crazy that, like, it would be, like...
Time up.
There are people who are my age doing like really important shit. And I'm always like, God damn, it's good I don't have to do that. Because I'm like, I'd just be very incompetent at anything that really mattered. We expect politicians to lie, at least to a certain extent. Campaign promises should always be taken with a grain of salt. But there are certain things we should be able to believe about them. Most people believe that politicians wouldn't lie about where they went to school, where they worked, or the Holocaust. Okay. And then we're introduced to George Anthony DeVolder Santos, the U.S. representative in New York's 3rd Congressional District. Hello there. Are you tired of feeling like someone's always watching over your shoulder while you're browsing the internet? Maybe it's a hacker. Maybe it's your government if you live in a sketchy country. Maybe you also think, oh, I'd like to watch Netflix from places with a larger Netflix than the country I come from. People would do that. Like myself. Well, let me tell you about how you're going to do all of that. I mean, not be spied on, but avoid getting spied on. It makes sense. Use Surfshark VPN. Not only do they mask your activity and let you virtually travel the world in just one click. Let's say you're in Spain and you want to watch the latest Netflix show that's only available in Canada. Well, just connect to a Canadian server and boom, you're in. Easy. But that's not all. With Surfshark, you can easily access blocked websites and streaming platforms. Plus, if you're traveling and you want to access your bank account or your home comforts, well, you can change your virtual location with a snap of your fingers. I mean, not literally. That doesn't work. You have to use your fingers on your phone and click on this little button that says Quick Connect. or connect. You can choose. Well, I guess quick connect would be it finds the closest or fastest server for you for anonymity. But if you're away, then you need to go into the list and you need to choose your home country, because then it won't be like, are you trying to sign in from wherever you... Like, sometimes I'll leave it on another country and then I will try to sign into my bank theater. Are you trying to sign in for Spain? It's like, no. Oh, I left VPN on. I left the VPN on. But it's great for privacy, obviously. Plus, they've got loads of other stuff. Surfshark Alert, Surfshark Antivirus, Surfshark Search. Spoiled for choice, are you, Peter? And if you're worried about the technical side of things, don't be. Surfshark's got you back with 3,200 servers in 100 countries, GPS spoofing on Android, and one subscription for unlimited devices, and a no-logs policy. So, go to surfshark.deals and use the promo code BLAZE and you'll get 83% off and 3 months for free. Again, that is surfshark.deals/BLAZE, promo code BLAZE. There's also a link below. And now back to today's video. Education history. The prevailing wisdom in American politics is that we want our elected officials to be the best and the brightest, for people to be the most qualified for the task at hand, that or whichever candidate has the last name Bush or Kennedy. In reality, however, that first part isn't actually true. Research shows that not only does having a fancy degree not make a politician more capable or less corrupt, but it also shows the voters don't actually care whether or not they went to college. Despite this, going to college has become something of a prerequisite for political office thanks to deep systemic issues that we can't get into right now. But if you weren't able to make the grade in school, you could always just lie about it. Santos was the son of poor Brazilian immigrants. He grew up in Queens, where he attended schools with names like Primary School 122 and Intermediate School 125. That's a joke, right? They don't actually just give them numbers. Right? Please? That sounds so systematic and depressing.
Okay, well, no, you are confused.
I'm pretty sure you're the one that's confused, but go ahead.
Because you don't grasp the severity of this.
But that's just not eye-catching enough. And he knew that the Nassau County Republican Party would never have given him the party nomination for his congressional run if he didn't have a more exciting educational background. What's that fancy New York school? I feel like I know the name of it from movies. And is it Phillips Academy? Phillips Exeter Academy, something like that. Just be like, I went there. I wore a blazer and shit. I wore a blazer to school, but that's because in the UK, everyone wears blazers. It's school uniform. In order to fluff his resume a little bit, Santos decided that he went to the prestigious Horace Mann School, an elite prep school that feeds students into the Ivy Leagues. After graduating from this prestigious school, he claimed to have attended college at the much less prestigious Baruch College. On the surface, this lie seems a little weird. Baruch certainly isn't a bad school, but why would you lie about going to an elite prep school for high school, then only to say you went to a college whose accolades include being one of the top 15 regional colleges in the North and one of the top 25 colleges for your money?
Because I like it. It's fun. It makes my dick hard.
Part of the reason is that he claimed not to have graduated from the Horace Mann School because of the Great Recession of 2008. Thanks to the economic downturn, his mother could no longer afford to keep him at the school. Doing some quick maths, that means that in 2008, Santos would have been attempting to begin his senior year of high school at the age of 20, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but probably isn't important. Did no one at least vaguely look into this before all of this came out? This seems like it's not even a good lie. The dates don't even match up. It's the most basic shit. Like, I remember as students or whatever, and they would talk about your CV, and they'd be like, well, don't make sure you don't have any gaps. Make sure you're always doing something. And I'm like, why? Oh, because then they'll think you've gone to prison. It's like, so I can't just bum around and play Xbox for 6 months. It's like, no. That's it. You ever want to have a job, you better not bum around and play Xbox for 6 months. I think that matters. I genuinely think that actually matters. I mean, not to me. It's been a long time since I put together a CV. When you go to an employer and there's just a big gap on your resume, they assume that you were in prison for crimes. Obviously, but probably murder. There's a good chance his claim also has to do with the fact that Santos' resume is strikingly similar to that of his former boss, Pablo Oliveira. Pablo was a graduate of Baruch at around the time that Santos claimed to have gone and was even a member of their championship volleyball team. Santos was given the opportunity to flesh out his backstory a little bit during a radio interview with someone who also happened to be a graduate of Baruch. Not only was the radio host a graduate, but he was a fan of sports, including volleyball and tennis. This gave Santos the perfect opportunity to talk about his volleyball career, likely drawing on details of his former employer employer's life. He claimed to be the star player on the championship team and oddly threw in the detail that he needed to get both of his knees replaced as a result.
My balls are in his knees. If he jumps with them, they'll explode. Oh my god!
Ow.
How did I understand that this guy lied to get to his position? And all this makes me think is there must be a lot of people in very powerful positions who lie. Because this guy is a terrible liar. I could lie better than this guy. I'm sure there's a lot of other people, especially politicians, who could lie better than this guy. We should check the dates on politicians' CVs, is what I'm trying to say here. You don't make your lies detailed. That's some basic shit. It not only makes it look like a lie, but it's also gonna be something that people can check up on. Never get too detailed. Lying 101. Come on. At some later date, Santos claimed to have gotten a master's degree from NYU because, why not at that point? You may be thinking that this would all be easily verifiable information, and you would be correct, but really, who has time to fact-check some dude's resume like a fucking nerd? Sure, George Santos never graduated high school, instead earning his GED, and admitted to, I don't know what a GED is. I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is. And admitted to never have attending college after both Baruch and NYU said they had no record of him under any of his aliases. Just remember that this wasn't discovered until after 2 campaigns for Congress, the second resulting in his election. No one checked this? It's insane. Work history. Alright, fine. So maybe Santos didn't go to the finest schools or even finish high school. Maybe he claimed to be attending Baruch College at a time when he was known to actually be living in Brazil. Again, this is stuff that can be checked. But surely he had a successful career before turning to politics, right? According to his official resume, which can be easily found online, he certainly had a successful career. Santos claims to have begun his career at Citigroup before moving to Met Global and then Goldman Sachs. While working at Goldman Sachs as a project manager, he managed to double revenue on the project that he was working on from $300 million to $600 million. God damn. Okie dokie. That's pretty impressive considering his resume lists him as only being at the company for about 7 months, or at least it would be impressive if the investment company had any record of him ever having worked there. The same is true of Citigroup, who also have no record of Santos ever having been employed there, though Met Global hasn't issued a statement regarding him. It's quite possible, in my opinion, that he didn't work there either, but because Met Global is based in Turkey, they just don't care. Wait, so I don't understand. So, dude, this is all stuff that you went to work in Turkey. This is all shit that can obviously be checked, bro. After his brief stint at Goldman Sachs, Santos went to Linkbridge Investors, where he acted as the company's vice president. That's another impressive move, and one the Linkbridge's founder testified under oath was also a lie. According to the founder, Santos was just a freelancer who worked on commission. It's a little bit different to VP, isn't it? Those two jobs are very different positions within the company. Yes, they are, Kevin.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Really?
People know me.
But if you're going to lie about your work history, this is absolutely the way to do it. It sounds like these lies are way too much. If Santos handed in his resume with his application to JP Morgan Chase, he would likely have been caught immediately. There's no way that one of America's largest investment banks wouldn't immediately notice that the division of Citigroup that Santos claimed to work for had been dissolved back when he was in high school. And if they saw that he had increased revenue for Goldman Sachs by $300 million in just a few months, well, they'd probably text their buddies over at Goldman to double check if that was true. However, if you're switching industries entirely, then it's a lot easier to just get away with lying about stuff like that. That's pretty, that's true. I didn't think of that. That's show business, baby. Lying about your education and work credentials on a resume, pretty mundane, to be honest. Luckily, Santos went much further than that and into extremely bizarre territory. The first interesting bit is that despite the Republican Party's take on the matter, Santos was allegedly a well-known drag queen in Brazil who dreamed of becoming Miss Gay Rio de Janeiro. He was also known as Anthony de Volder rather than George Santos to most people, the most common alias that he would use. Now, this topic has come up a lot, and Santos categorically denied any allegations that he had performed as a drag queen, so naturally a photo emerged that was confirmed by expert analysis to be indeed of him dressed in drag. While he continued to deny ever performing in drag, he implicitly acknowledged having dressed up before by saying, "I was young and had fun at a festival. Sue me for having a life." And that's fair enough, and honestly, I couldn't give two shits whether or not he performed in drag shows, although if he did, that's potentially an actual job he could include on his resume. What's more interesting is where he claimed claimed that this career led him. In 2011, Wikipedia user Anthony DeVolder created his own user page. While some random dude living in Brazil wasn't going to get his own Wikipedia page, anybody can create their own user profile on the website to talk about themselves. It was there on the now defunct user page for Anthony DeVolder that we got to see his further endeavors into the entertainment industry. It was listed that after a successful career as a drag queen, he was able to land roles on the Disney Channel, appearing on Hannah Montana and The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I'm sure you'll all remember that period in 2007 when the Disney Channel was just filling all of their popular shows with guest spots featuring teenage Brazilian drag queens, a period when Santos would have been attending that fancy prep school that he mentioned, by the way. And actually, his resume said that he graduated college in 2010. He probably would have been attending Baruch at the same time that he was in high school, as well as on the Disney Channel. Dude, I can't believe that this was just not... He was elected to Congress. But let's not get caught up on meaningless details like our constant forward motion through space-time. Instead, one detail we should remember is that this user page was created in 2011, long before Santos was a public figure. While he has not admitted to making this username to my knowledge, there's no reason anyone else would have bothered to do so either. The page also stated that he made his big screen debut in the film The Invasion, starring Uma Thurman. While there was a 2007 movie titled The Invasion, I'm guessing that Santos neither starred in it nor even watched it. If he had, he may have realized that the movie starred Nicole Kidman, not Uma Thurman. However, Santos' fictional involvement in the entertainment industry wouldn't end there. While speaking to donors, this guy's got a disease, right? Like, allegedly, in my opinion. This is not like normal padding your resume. This is like chronic, there is something wrong upstairs, in my opinion, that makes you do this. This is not the behavior of a mentally healthy individual.
You have a poison in your mind, and the fact that you can't see it makes me so sad.
In my opinion. While speaking to donors during a 2022 congressional bid, he told them how he had helped produce the Broadway musical Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark. Given that this was a 2011 musical, the timing once again doesn't make any sense, and the actual producers of the show insisted that Santos was not involved in any way. Of course, I have much more practical questions regarding this one. What the fuck would you possibly have to gain by lying about that? Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark was a notorious disaster. Why would you go to your campaign donors and say, hey, remember that musical that was plagued with delays, got several actors injured, and lost $60 million? That was all me, baby! If you want the voting public to feel like they could trust your judgment, why would you attach your name to what many people would argue is the biggest flop in Broadway's 150-year musical history? Family Matters. No, Santos didn't claim to have starred alongside Jaleel White as Steve Urkel's BFF, at least not that I could find. I have no idea who any of these people are. However, he has made some claims about his family that have been shown to be less than truthful. While courting donations from pro-Israeli activists, Santos claimed to be halalkically Jewish. That's a needlessly fancy way of saying that he was Jewish on his mother's side. So he was just regular Jewish then. Though historically the maternal connection has been what was important under Jewish law. Yes, he even claims that his grandparents survived the Holocaust and fled persecution during World War II. Technically, that is somewhat true. His grandparents were alive while the Holocaust was taking place, and they did in fact survive it. They weren't in any real danger of not surviving it since they were born and raised in Brazil, but they definitely made it out the other end of the whole thing alive. Fuck, man, why are you doing this? Is just so cringe. That's not okay. When these claims came under question, Santos claimed that his mother's ancestors were Ukrainian and that it was common for people to change their names while fleeing Europe to avoid persecution. It is once again true that people fleeing the Holocaust did that, and once again also the case that his family did no such thing. Once genealogical evidence was obtained to prove that Santos' grandparents were from Brazil and had no Jewish or Ukrainian heritage, it was time to backtrack a little bit with my absolute favorite one of Santos' lies. You all misheard him. Santos had always been a Catholic, and he never claimed to be Jewish. He was actually saying that he was Jew-ish because of the alleged but non-existent connection on his mother's side.
Great job.
Exploiting his family's pretend tragedies didn't stop with his grandparents, however. His mother also died because she was working at the World Trade Center on 9/11. I can't believe how deep this goes. I I can't believe how deep this goes. Not really, but he made repeated claims to that effect, including tweeting, 9/11 claimed my mother's life, while talking about illegal immigration from Brazil. Of course, his mother didn't die until 2016, and documents show that she was living in Brazil in 2001. Among other documents, in a 2003 visa application, she wrote that she had not been to the United States since 1999, but who knows? Maybe she was the one that was like, yeah, maybe, or maybe not. There's of course also the stuff about him being an openly gay congressional candidate while hiding the fact that he had a wife whom he divorced just days before filing the paperwork to run for office, but that's not really a big deal. There are numerous reasons why a gay person might marry someone of the opposite sex, and I really don't care who he wants to sleep with as long as it's a consenting adult. The only reason I bring it up is because of his little tirade against illegal immigration from Brazil. Santos' wife was a Brazilian citizen who was able to get a green card thanks to their marriage. According to one of Santos' friends, it was a green card marriage for which he had been paid, and it was a scam that Santos tried to convince his friends to take part in as if it was an easy way to make money. That sounds super illegal. Surely that's very illegal. That's just an allegation from a single source, and I'd hate to think that any elected official could be both a liar and a hypocrite. Yeah, allegedly. From one alleged source that is not us. It's just what we're reporting on. The elephant in the room. All of these proven falsehoods bring us to the elephant in the room. The elephant, of course, being the symbol for the Republican Party. If George, it's an elephant and a donkey. So why?
In order to make political reporting more interesting and to help viewers more easily discern the leanings of a particular party, colours are often assigned according to the party's ideology. So how did these two animals go from here to popularly representing the Democrats and the Republicans? This is thanks to famed political cartoonist Thomas Nast. Thanks to Nast, by 1880, the donkey and the elephant became the accepted symbols used by other political cartoonists and writers for the two political parties, and the association has stuck around ever since.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
If George Santos really wanted to be a congressman so badly that he'd lie about his entire life to achieve that dream, wouldn't it make more sense to just run as a Democrat and not lie? Wait. What? Santos was the openly gay son of poor immigrants who earned his GED and never went to college. Oh, I see. It's the story of the immigrant guy who made good. It's very Democratic vibe, whereas the Republican would be like, we only want someone who went to that Phillips place with the blazers. It would be very easy for him to construct a narrative about being a man of the people and being much more in touch with the voting public than those fat cats in Washington. Being gay himself, he could also have positioned himself as an advocate of LGBT rights, something that played no small role in the 2022 election results. New York, including Nassau County, which makes up most of his district, also tends to skew Democratic rather than Republican anyway. I'm no campaign strategist, but it feels like he created an uphill battle for himself that would have been impossible to win without a mountain of lies. Of course, only time will tell how this story plays out. There are a lot of pretty serious legal allegations in both the US and Brazil against Santos, and both political parties are pretty vocal in their desire for him to resign in disgrace. He's still a congressman after all of this has come to light? Who knows, maybe by the time this episode airs, there'll be some huge updates and he'll already have stepped down from his seat in Congress. That's fucking wild! Or maybe he'll release a deepfake video of him and Miley Cyrus with their blonde wigs on singing the best of both worlds as proof of his illustrious acting career. We'll just have to wait and see. And thank you for watching. Including my previous work history, COO, Chief Orgasm Officer for your mum, 2015 to present. Boom!